Hello and welcome to Using Social Media for Customer Service. Along with the explosion of social media channels comes kind of a shift in the game of power. One person calling your customer service line to complain may not have had much of an impact in the past on your brand, but throw in a handful of people with the same problem, an influential blog or two, and perhaps a Twitter army, and you have a good old-fashioned revolt on your hands. So you need to really take a second look about how you use your social media for customer service. I'd like you to take a moment to look at this commercial by Motrin. It's called Motrin Moms. I'd like you to look at it and kind of, think about how it hits you, because I will tell you it hits some moms in a very negative way. So take a moment, look at the video, and come back. When Motrin decided to do this video, they wanted to create something that was a little bit edgy. They were trying to say that carrying a baby in one of those side shoulder harnesses was done because it looks trendy, and because it also hurts, you should take Motrin. Well, the company released the spot on a Friday in 2008. Moms who watched it got very offended, and they started to talk about it on blogs, on Facebook, and on this up-and-coming thing called Twitter. 20,000 emails awaited Motrin Corporate when they came back to work on Monday morning. So here was this billion-dollar pharmaceutical company versus a bunch of moms. In the old days, Big Pharma wins. The company reps would send out some coupons in the mail to kind of, please everybody, and, we're sorry, and that would be the end of it. But now everything is immediate and everything is played out for millions of other peoples to see. So social media is a great, it's sort of leveled the playing field for everybody when it comes to customer service. Blogs and tweets rank well in search engines, and word of mouth is as easy to start as a single tweet. If you Google Motrin Moms, then the results are probably going to be dominated by negative blog posts about the ad. Motrin doesn't even own the top 5 ranking of that particular term. They pulled the commercial off the corporate site, but as you can see, it's still up on YouTube and living. So what could Motrin have done to deal with all of this? Outside of never creating the ad in the first place, let's just say, for example, that they had created the ad and then this explosion happened. What do you do with that? Well, first of all, hopefully they were monitoring social media channels for mentions. If people are talking about your brand, then as we've mentioned before, you should be part of the conversation. Maybe they should have reacted and posted something on their blog in place of the ad, that they were attempting to have some fun and kind of admit to the error. Maybe they could run a contest to have others make an ad that was better than the Motrin Moms ad and give prizes like those shoulder slings out. Kind of poke a little fun at yourself. Enabled voting on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube for which one of these ads is the best one. And then presented the winning ads as what they should have done in the first place, because who knows moms best than moms. We're a pretty forgiving culture if you own up to your mistakes. You're not going to be able to avoid mistakes, and you're not going to be able to control them after the fact, but you can own a mistake and try to make it better. When someone says any publicity is good publicity, that's true up to a point. If you remedy the situation, it can turn out great. But if you don't fix it, many times it just makes you look bad, and that's not good publicity. The thing about social media and customer service is that companies are accustomed to one-on-one customer service. We've got call centers and email desks and help desks, all based on the idea that you need one employee interaction for every customer reaction. But social media allows for businesses to have these interactions in public for all the world to see. This kind of public customer service can be good or bad for your brand. Good because it allows people to see if your brand is listening and engaged and that you care about your customers. The bad can happen if that customer service social media account is run by someone who is not skilled at customer service, or when complaints are simply ignored. Here's an example of someone who was monitoring a social media site related to their brand and actually handled it quite well. This is Tufts University in Massachusetts. They have 3 cafeterias, and each cafeteria has their own Twitter account. Their primary function is to tweet out the daily menu for the students to see, and more importantly, they are listening to what the students are saying about them, as the above tweets show. In the first tweet, you can see that she's using Twitter, as a lot of people do, to vent. I've just eaten the most disgusting apple in the world. How do you grow something so horrible tasting? Get it together at Tufts Dining. Okay, so this is usually where many companies do nothing and either the tweet dies, but it lives on Google, or she gets even angrier. Smart organizations will pick up on this, and they will realize they have a chance to not only solve the issue, but to build a reputation. Within a few hours, the cafeteria responded with a tweet. At Humble Beauty, sorry about the apple. Which location did you get it from? They showed they were listening, they showed that they cared, and that they wanted to do something about it. Then she replies with an "it's okay." She's already backing off of the situation, which has been potentially diffused because of the cafeteria's acknowledgement. At Tufts Dining, it's okay. I've just never had one that was so bad before. I got it from DeWick. It could have been left at that, but they decided to ensure that her experience would be as good as it could be after this mistake. And in the last tweet, they acknowledge her and they own the mistake. So they say, at Humble Beauty, thanks for the location info. Yes, it's fresh fruit, and sometimes they go bad, but we should catch it before it gets to you. Now, they could have just said, fresh fruit goes bad, and that's life. But they didn't. They owned the mistake, and they tried to make it better, and probably, dozens of people saw that play out. Here's an example of when things didn't quite go so well. When the wrong person is managing that social media account, one negative customer experience can potentially grow. And this is when a young lady named April Dunford had an experience at a place called the Dark Horse Cafe. She posted a concern about the establishment. She said on her Twitter feed, "You run a cafe. About 50% of your customers are working on laptops. You have one electrical outlet. I'm talking about you, Mr. Dark Horse." Now, she didn't use the Dark Horse Twitter handle in her tweet, so one of April's followers decided they would pass it along. Hey, at Dark Horse Cafe, check it out. And they linked to April's status. So a few hours later, they see the complaint and they reply. At April Dunford, that's awesome. We're in the coffee business. We have plenty of outlets to do what we need. So as you can see, there's no acknowledgement at all by the cafe that they have done anything wrong at all. Needing an outlet would likely be a common concern for a lot of their customers, but they don't leave it there. They sort of add insult to injury and add one more tweet to make sure she understands just how unimportant their issue is to them. At April Dunford, maybe you should just enjoy the cafe and take a break from your computer for a few minutes. Enjoy the space that you're in. They had a huge opportunity here, and ignoring her would have been better than what they did. So here's April's reply. At Dark Horse Cafe, sorry I mentioned it. Sometimes I show people stuff on my computer over coffee. Please ignore the customer feedback. Gee whiz. This message reached a lot of people, not only April's followers, but through retweets as well. You need to take advantage of the potential for great customer service that social media can allow. But you also need to know what can go wrong. Another potential of public service happens when you watch your competitors' interactions online. If I owned a cafe near the Dark Horse, I would have had an outlet and put April's name on it somehow, taken a picture, and tweeted it out to her with an invitation for a free coffee. So you can use your competitors' missteps to your advantage. Another story I'd like you to take a few moments to look at is this the In Control story. This was something that was so outrageously bad, it went viral. It was a series of emails and a customer service issue about a piece of hardware that a gentleman couldn't get. And so he stored all these emails, and they were just so outrageous that he decided to post them on the web, and the rest is history, as they say. Just another sort of morality tale on, be careful what you document, be careful who you have handling these customer service accounts. So take a moment to look at that and get a few chuckles. Now, another example of a good customer service experience, Zappos.com is an online retailer who sets the bar for customer service quite high online. They focus on making very authentic connections with their customers via social media rather than selling and promoting their products. So they'll spend time to help a person find an item even if it's something they don't carry. They're going to make no money off of that sale, but it's valuable in building customer appreciation and trust. The CEO said, I have recognized that the web gives everyone a voice, including Zappos customers. And what customers say on blogs and social networks can reach millions. That's why Zappos treats every interaction as an opportunity not to make a sale, but to shed positive light on the brand. So that's how they think of customer service. The staff are encouraged to be very transparent in their tweets, which helps customers feel like they know them and they can be comfortable reaching out. The interaction's very genuine, it's very authentic, and it leaves the customer satisfied to such an extent that they're willing to tell other people about their positive experience. Another example would be Pottery Barn, and Pottery Barn is an interesting example of how maybe their online customer service is better than their offline customer service. One customer, Jennifer Hellam, bought a table, had a glass top, and it shattered one summer in the extreme Arizona heat. She called the customer service line and the store where she bought the table. That didn't get her anywhere. So a few weeks later, she posted photos of the tabletop explosion on Pottery Barn's Facebook page. Within 30 minutes, she had a call from a customer relations representative who worked to find her a new tabletop and reimbursed her for it. So, though the company engages with customers best via Facebook, it also has a great YouTube channel that does a good job of building a community online. They have videos like how-tos for party planners, designer profiles, and featured products. They give advice about how to use their products, telling their story behind products, and their YouTube channel really brings customers beyond the purchase. It's a very proactive form of customer service. So the lessons here, definitely want to be monitoring your account so you can be an active voice in the discussion. Monitor what people are saying and be sure to address both the positive and the negative messages. You want to show your fans, your followers, and others that you are listening and that you appreciate their feedback and their commentary. You want to own up to your own mistakes. We're only human. It's very human to make the occasional mistake. The important thing is to remember to avoid presenting it as if it never happened or it's somebody else's fault. Always listen to your audience and address the issues. Try to avoid making the same mistakes twice and truly listen to your followers, because you might learn that there are certain widespread issues among a lot of your customers that need to be addressed. Chat it up. Customer service isn't just about handling complaints, but also about answering maybe lingering questions that your customers have about how to use your products and services. You want to be proactive, kind of like Pottery Barn was. Create an effective way for customers to contact you directly. Make it easy for them to reach you. If you want to read more, HubSpot.com has a nice article called Tips to Use Social Media for Exceptional Customer Service. It really is an area that many companies need to focus some attention on. This says exercise, but it's not really an exercise. It's just more fodder for you to think about as you're developing your plans for your clients. In your groups, I want you to think about the customer service aspects of your clients as they relate to social media customer service. Are there any mechanisms already in place that monitor social media accounts? If not, you're going to want to come up with some recommendations and instructions to help them monitor after you've given them this plan. Are there ways to collect data so that the complaints are acted upon to make sure that the same mistakes don't happen over and over again? Is the right person in charge of responding to customer issues? And is the organizational culture such that they could own up to their own mistakes? That is definitely something that a lot of organizations need to work on.